This week on Machinery Pete TV, more choice Allis-Chalmers equipment from Big Iron. It doesn't get much better than this pair of 1985 8070 tractors with sequential serial numbers. It takes a bit of guesswork to nail down the stats on this vintage Ford. And Pete shares some Canadian auction results that are impressive even in US dollars.
Your machinery is a serious investment and at the heart of every farming operation. Some call it a passion. We're Machinery Pete TV, and today we'll cover everything from auction roundups to the classics to the latest trends and technology. Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com. A&I Products is a lower-cost, quality replacement parts solution for all types and ages of ag equipment across all brands. Visit aiproducts.com. Well, folks, I got to tell you, it is fun to emerge from a line of orange paint like this. I'm in Tell City, Indiana. We're here for an online auction by our great friends at BigIron.com, the Merle Schwartz estate sale, and Merle has an amazing line of Allis tractors. We're going to see 8 of them sell today, including a pair of 1985 8070s. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss these babies.
All right, thanks, Pete. I'm Clinton Griffiths. Ahead of the Fed's interest rate hike this week, the U.S. dollar index traded at fresh 20-year highs. Rising interest rates and the economy have continued to make the U.S. dollar a safe haven for investors. Market analysts say they may not change course until they see evidence that the Fed is going to reverse and cut rates, and that may take several months.
And if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised to see the dollar maybe have a little bit of a blow off top coming around the corner. Again, the path of least resistance is higher, so I wouldn't go to the bank looking for that today. But eventually, the dollar will peel off, and when that does happen, I think you'll see a pretty big boost in some of these commodity markets.
Gas prices rose for the first time in 99 days on Wednesday. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of gas rose to $3.68. Now compare that to June when prices climbed to $5.01. Diesel, well, it remains above $4.90 on average, less than $1 off of its highs set back in June. AAA says the continued war in Ukraine, fears of an economic recession, and threats from tropical storms are pushing those prices higher. Meanwhile, global crop supplies are running tight. According to the Wall Street Journal, executives at some of the U.S. largest agribusinesses say the short supplies will require at least 2 more years of good harvests in the Western Hemisphere to ease the pressure. Now let's check on some recent auctions from around the country. Now back to our host, Machinery Pete.
Well, folks, good condition, older two-wheel drive tractors have been just scorching hot lately. And I tell you, I think we might have another one here, this Allis-Chalmers 7060. Stay tuned. All right, folks, we have a color cornucopia going here. We've got yellow of Big Iron, we have beautiful orange Allis-Chalmers, and I'm rocking a plain old white shirt today, but I'm here with Connor Rooksbury, District Manager with Big Iron, and wow, beautiful 7060 here, Connor.
It definitely is. You know, this thing will make somebody a great planting tractor, even a hay tractor. Yes. I mean, it's low-houred, you know, assuming the tack is correct. It shows 664 hours.
Wow.
We were told that he is the original owner on this tractor.
Okay.
Now, we can't confirm it. We were not able to confirm it, but we were told he was the original owner.
Merle had passed away some time ago, his estate sale here, but again, that's what you heard from from folks, neighbors, or whatever,
Yes.
that he was the original owner.
Yep.
And again, you look at the thing, and I mean, it looks in fabulous
Yes,
condition.
it does.
Now, like you say, that in terms of usage for a tractor like this vintage, boy, just curious to get your take, Connor. I've been seeing these two-wheel drives from the 70s and 80s in good condition. The value is just skyrocketing.
Yeah, they have. You know, and like I say, I mean, they're a great plant tractor for some folks. I mean,
And here when we are filming this, we're 6 days out from the online auction, and
Yep.
the online bid was already up. Was it
I
pushing
think it was
13?
12,750, I believe, is where we were at.
Well, We're getting close to the highest auction price I've ever seen on a 7060, which I think was 18.7 last summer, June of 21, North Webster, Indiana. Maybe it's something about Indiana with these 7060s.
It might be. This is one of them deals you just dream about. I mean, you know, not necessarily the dollar amount, but just the story behind it.
Right.
You know, he had 25 tractors. I mean,
Right. And the family, they're not selling all of them. They're keeping a few.
they're
right?
keeping 5. They had a 200 that was redone about like these two.
Yeah.
They've got a D19 diesel they're keeping, and they've got 2 others in there
Sure.
that they're keeping.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's always nice when the family can keep a few of the
it
favorites.
is, yeah.
And still at the same time offer these. And I think when you have a lifetime collecting these things, a piece that gets missed sometimes is the joy of the buyer, the joy on the buying side to see someone light up. They've been looking for one like this forever. Now
Yep.
they click the button and they get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, folks, coming into this sale, the highest auction price I've ever seen on an Alice 7080, $17,100 on a very famous collector auction, Menominee, Wisconsin, back August of 16. Next highest price, $15,500. That was back 21 years ago. And Connor, 6 days out, the 7080, this thing's already up to like 10,500.
It is. It sure is.
Wow.
And this one here, as you can see right there, it's got a Cummins repower in it
Okay.
as well.
Yep.
Something I will tell you is, from what I was told, this had rib tires on it,
Okay.
and I guess when these things first came out, they originally had these turf tires on it. So Merle had to take it back to the original turf tires.
So Merle was putting it back in its original
Yep,
state. Very
he
cool.
was.
Also, I have to just get such a smile out of some of the phrases on the tractors that they had painted. I just want to be a 7580.
Yep.
It speaks to their Merle and his brother Earl, their passion for Alice Chalmers, doesn't
It does. It sure does.
And some of the more antique type tractors have similar phrases. Like does the
There's a D. Earlier we talked about they had a few that they kept. There's a D19 diesel
Yep.
in the shed that they're keeping, and it says, "I just wanna be a D21."
Well, who wouldn't want to be a D21?
That's right, yeah.
And nothing against the 7580s, but again, this will make a nice tractor for someone here, a 79 model, so just over 40 years old. But you know, buying horsepower versus what a new one costs.
Yeah.
It's and like we have talked about, Connor, this whole pre-def thing just keeps becoming more and more prominent. So you pick up a tractor like this that you can wrench on, you know, hey, you'll get the job done for you.
It will. Yep. And yeah, exactly, just like you said. I mean, you know, I can work on this. I don't have to plug a computer in to see what's wrong with it, and you know.
And if you can click the button with your friends at the Yellow Shirts, BigIron.com, and buy this type of orange paint, hey, that's a good day.
It is. It sure is. It'll make somebody a nice tractor.
Yes, it will. Here are a few more items that sold on today's sale. What's that piece of equipment worth? Check out Machinery Pete's auction prices for the answer. Free to view, updated daily, all types of equipment. Go to machinerypete.com and click on the auction tab, then auction price data. Well folks, if you are in possession of a 2007 to 2011 model tractor, combine, skid steer, sprayer in good condition with low hours, you, my friend, are sitting on a gold mine. Now, I'm sure you know this if you've been following my blog and columns here the last year and a half, 2 years, but the values on these items are just absolutely going through the roof. I've seen just an absolute torrent of record high auction prices. And of course, we're talking pre-DEF, pre-Tier 4 items here, and always popular. But with the current situation, with the supply chain mess, can't get new equipment, dealers at an all-time low, used inventory, the parts issues, availability we ran into, folks are buying these nicest condition pre-DEF, pre-Tier 4 units as a hedge against downtime. And again, I'm seeing records all over the place. Now let's drop in, for example, on a sale August 20th in Elmore, Ohio by my good friends at Siefker Real Estate and Auction Company. They sold this 2009 Case IH 305, Magnum 305, 1,831 hours on it, went for $189,000. Of course, record high auction price by almost $10,000. The previous record, in fact, was just set back on March 23rd of this year. A Big Iron auction, one out of Nebraska, and that one brought $179.25, which shattered a record of $170,000, which stood for exactly 10 years. Now on the same Elmore, Ohio auction, this, on the combine side, this 2009 Gleaner R66, 2,177 engine hours on it, sold for $115,000. Now, not quite a record high auction price, but the second highest price in almost 8 years. Welcome back to Tractor Tales, folks. This week we've got a story for you of a father and son showing off their classic Ford.
I have a 1942, as best we can tell, Ford 9N or possibly a 2N tractor. Well, I'm not exactly sure. There isn't any casting numbers. There was a casting number on the head that did indicate 1942, but the block has been changed. And one of the lead descriptors on it was the hubs, which I found were more towards the 2N side. My uncle actually picked this up for me as a project from a family friend who has a farm close by. It wasn't terrible. It had good bones, but definitely need to this level of restoration, it needed quite a bit of work. Oh, it was dismantled almost down to the last bolt. Sent everything out, sandblasted, prepped it, painted it, reassembled it. But first we made sure it was running before we did that.
I helped him with like little bits and pieces of the restoration process on it. I helped him with like hanging the parts outside for prepping it for like painting and whatnot.
Primarily it's a parade princess. So my son calls it the 1,000-pound paperweight.
Well, I like that I get the opportunity to like pull it around in parades and pull around the cheerleaders with it. I mean, it's kind of another type of atmosphere, like getting to drive them around just because they're so like rowdy and cheering on it.
There was a company in just outside of Spokane called Draper Tractor Parts, which has now gone out of business here last year, unfortunately. But they were a great resource for getting the parts for it. Just little stuff, stuff you really wouldn't pay a lot of attention to, clamps and brackets, to try to keep it as original as you could.
Got equipment to sell privately but tired of scams and hassles? Visit MachineryPete.com and click Sell Mine. MachineryPete.com, the simple and secure way to buy and sell equipment online.
All right, folks, a special bonus, a twofer on our feature item on the show today, a pair of 85 Allis-Chalmers 8070s. And Connor, again, orange paint, vintage, pair of nice rigs here.
It is. You know, these seem to be a pretty popular tractor, the 8070s. You know, they've got the front wheel assist. Something interesting about these two is they are sisters.
Serial numbers?
Yep. This one here is, I believe it's 3049, and that one there is 3050.
Now, as we look here, Connor, on the one behind us here, the 8070. The logoing, that's interesting. That was 85.
Yep.
So of course a lot of turmoil in the mid 80s for manufacturers, but the Deutz and the name, that was just a very kind of volatile period, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And I don't know the story of why that thing's got the Deutz Alice stickers on it, but
Could have been the dealer?
It could have been, yeah. I don't know.
You know, tractors like this, and by the way, the 6 days out here as we're filming, the online bids are already up to I think 23 and 21,000.
Yep.
Very strong. But you know, a tractor like this, don't you think, Connor, that people look at these and you say, well, you know, what's the horsepower? And then what does that similar horsepower new cost today?
Yeah.
And then factor in, can I even get a new one?
Yep. You're pre-def.
Pre-def.
And you know, that makes a big difference. I mean, it.
Well, kind of that bulletproof factor, right? I can wrench on it, and I tell you, I've seen a trend this year that I've never seen before, and that's actually people buying good used tractors like this as a hedge.
Yep.
Against downtime. I think the parts availability was so scary fall of 2021 there that kind of spooked people.
Yeah.
So we see it in late model tractors, but again, these pre-def ones, they've ratcheted up in value huge. You probably see that on your watch list.
Yeah.
BigIron.com, I mean, your pool of bidders is like pushing 500,000, so that must be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it definitely is, and you know, it's amazing to see the watchers on it, because you know, I don't know these for facts, but I would say on average, you know, we'll have well over 100 watchers on a piece.
Wow.
You know, I'd say probably 120 if I had to guess, but I mean, it's quite a few.
Well, bring it together, buyers and sellers. That's what BigIron.com
Yep.
is, and it's been fun to watch you guys grow, and really fun to be out here watching these, or having an up-close look at these beautiful Allis Chalmers, Connor, and thank you for showing us the pair of 8070s.
Yep.
Brindley Auction Service has been a family-owned auction company up in Ontario for 45 years, going back to 1977. And recently, August 24th and 5th, they had a big 2-day auction of their private collection of vintage tractors. Now here's a few highlights from the sale. They had a pair of American 80s, and one only had 30 hours on it, this two-wheel drive model. It sold for $60,500 Canadian, which converts to $46,730 US. They also had this front wheel assist American 80 with 1,660 hours on it. That went for $50,500 Canadian. Again, do the conversion, it's $39,006. Folks, those are the two highest auction prices I've ever seen on American 80s. Now they also sold this 1982 John Deere 4040 with only 2,068 hours on it. It went for $48,000 Canadian. Do the math, it comes out to $37,075 US, which is the 6th highest auction price ever on a John Deere 4040. Interesting to note, 4 of the 6 highest auction prices ever have come from the past 9 months. Now we'll wind up with 2 more record prices. This 1972 Massey Ferguson 1150, this thing only had 2,869 hours on it, and it sold for $29,351 US. Again, record price by over 11,000 bucks. And then this 1984 Ford TW5 two-wheel drive, only 887 actual hours on it, sold for $35,500 Canadian. Do the math, it comes out to 27,420 bucks US. Again, record price. Well, folks, I got to tell you, anytime I write or talk about Allis Chalmers tractors, the response I get is just through the roof. Now, after a recent story, a LinkedIn follower of mine, Chris Jenkins, sent me a note and he said, "Hey Pete, I have a soft spot in my heart for Allis Chalmers. I was wearing an Allis hat the day I met my wife. She took one look at me and said, hey, my dad had an Allis." And thus was born a great love story. Now, I hope you enjoyed our visit today to Tell City, Indiana for BigIron.com's Allis Chalmers tractor auction. Great fun to watch that 7060, the 7080, and of course those pair of 8070s sell. Now tune in next week, folks. I'm quite sure we'll have some more interesting equipment to share with you. Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit SullivanAuctioneers.com. ANI Products is a lower cost, quality replacement part solution for all types and ages of ag equipment across all brands. Visit AIProducts.com.